Hi everyone, Brian here with part 4 of a look at my retro video game room in my collection. This one will focus on the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was Nintendo's foray into 3D gaming and graphics. Very, very revolutionary for the time. Everything that came out at that time in 3D was new and exciting and just new gameplay experiences, very fresh and just amazing. Hasn't aged as well because it was very early. Much like the early Atari games were breaking ground, and the Nintendo and the later systems revolutionized things and improved. The N64 was very much similar in a way that it was very early. Although the games were very, very advanced for the time, they do show their age. But some of them you could go back to and play and have great experiences, especially the 3D platformers, which the system was very well known for. The cartridges were very, very expensive, though. I remember Doom 64 I got for $80, and this was one of the first systems I bought my first game for, actually, with my first paycheck from my first real career job after I got out of college. So here we go. I'll start off with the system game box I have here. Here's my original game box of the Nintendo 64. I played it at a friend's house. He got it the year it came out, and I played Mario Kart 64. Or not Mario Kart, Mario 64, and I forget the other games I played. I don't know if Wave Race came out at the time. I think it was a launch title. I did play that, and that was awesome. And I was blown away by Mario 64, and I asked my parents for this system. I really wanted it. That's all I wanted for Christmas. And back then, it was very hard to find this system. You couldn't just go in and find it. You had to, you were very fortunate if you found it. My mom and dad actually did find it for me that Christmas, and I got it with Mario 64. Very, very happy to have it. Very exciting Christmas for me. And looking back, this was the last big Christmas present system I would get as a kid. It was the Nintendo 64. I do remember where I was sitting on the living room floor when I opened it up, and I opened it up with Mario 64, and yeah, after that I bought my own systems, and Christmases just were not as magical. I'd say the Nintendo 64 for me was the very last system of child wonder for me. After that, the GameCube, I was out of school, starting my career, out of college, starting my career, and games just didn't have that magical wonder that they did back then. When I got the N64, I was in late high school, getting like 11th grade. So I was fairly old, but I still did love the games and love the wonderment that it provided. Here on the back of the box, it tells a little bit about the machine. Experience a quantum leap in graphics realism with a Nintendo 64 system. Real-time rendering and awesome anti-alias graphics create a heart-pumping visual gaming world. Plus, you can have your N64 and Super Nintendo connected to your TV simultaneously. See instruction book for details. The controller they talk about, the controller was revolutionary because it had an analog thumbstick that allowed you to move in very seamlessly in 360 degrees movements for 3D platformers and stuff. The further you pushed the controller in, the faster Mario or a character would run or walk. They could program that. And it did ship with the stereo AV cables. Here on the back of the box you see little pictures of games that came out at launch. Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, Cruisin' USA, Super Mario 64 was the big one, Killer Instinct Gold, which my friend had. And you see here a sticker for if you need a system called Nintendo with purchase date. So, yeah, not my favorite Nintendo console, because the games were so expensive. There weren't a lot of good games being released in timely manners like the Super Nintendo, but what did come out were very, very high quality, especially the Nintendo first party and rare games. So I'll go with my boxed games I have for the N64, and they start down here underneath the Super Nintendo shelf where we left off last time. Most of these I had, some of these I had since I was a kid, others I picked up later. So let me get started here. Get a flashlight in case I need it. Okay. So we have Armorines. 3D like shooter, very typical for the time coming out. Lots of first-person like perspective 3D games coming out. Bomberman Hero. Diddy Kong Racing is an original game I got for Christmas one year. Very, very good game. I have fond memories of this game especially the music, Frosty Village, very Christmas-like music. Very fun game, great game. Donkey Kong 64. Funny thing about this game, not really funny, but Donkey Kong 64 came out very late in the N64's life. I was near my final year of school. I was interning at a place where I would currently get my first job at. And with my first or second paycheck, I bought Donkey Kong 64. It was the first game I ever bought with my own money from my first job as an intern. And that was quite an experience. I used to play it on the dorm TV, a little console, like it looked like a hotel TV, just on a little stand, like a little wire, like a stand with four legs, and four legs. It looked like almost a stool stand. I don't know, stool seat. But yeah, I did play it all through that last year of college, and I never did end up beating it. I went back to it the other day to see if my memory saved where I was at, and I was like 95% complete in the game, which is a great feat, because to get 100% in this game is very, very tedious, I should say. But I was at K. Rool, and the last boss fight, I just never beat him. So maybe someday, if I remember where he's at, or where to go, I remember I was at K. Rool, I will go and finish it. Doom 64 is an experience of a game to have on this system. A great experience to play or have on this on the system. I wanted this game very much. The only Doom I played was on my one friend's Windows 95 machine, and this game was a big deal, being hyped, very much so. And it was $80-some when I got it, and I can't believe my mom bought it for me. But yeah, it's a very atmospheric game, one that's I want to replay again. It's just, I have fond memories of it. So yeah, Doom 64. You can get it, thankfully, much cheaper than $85 now. Gauntlet Legends I did not have as a kid. That one I picked up later. GoldenEye 007 I did have as a kid. I remember I did max out on 00 Agent, the hardest difficulty, and I remember fond memories of playing with friends at sleepovers. Jet Force Gemini is one I had as a kid. Very fun 3D shooter, like 3D action game. Never did beat it. Madden Football 64 I did have as a kid. There's Madden 2000. Perfect Dark Madden 2000 Perfect Dark I did not have as a kid. Perfect Dark I got it, and I never played it. I got it for a few dollars at a store, maybe $8-10, and I never played it. Because a lot of the first-person shooters on the N64, unless you have nostalgia for them, they're not the best to go back to be honest with you. First-person shooters in particular age very poorly. Super Mario 64, very, very revolutionary and fun game. I should say fun's the key word, just running around in 3D space. There was nothing like that really at the time for me playing. And it was a revolutionary in games, period. And played it to death. And yeah, it is on the Wii U Virtual Console as well now. If you have a Wii U, pick it up. Turok. I have very fond memories of this game too. I really, really like Turok. Very Metroid exploration type and 3D first-person shooters. Graphics were amazing at the time. When you shot people, it would, wherever you hit them, they would have canned animations for like getting shot in the neck or the leg or whatever. The graphics were amazing, and it was very fun. Turok 2 I got much later. I was out of school and in my second apartment, and I never did beat it. I remember the slowdown being very, very, very bad. Here you see my original memory cards, which still do have my saves. The one is an original, I should say. The other is one I picked up later. Now let's go on to over here. One other game over here I do have box is Banjo-Tooie, which I got much later. And I did beat this game, and I was currently playing through it this summer and kind of stopped and got into playing something else. Banjo-Tooie is much bigger than the first Banjo-Kazooie. And the world is very revolutionary, but all the worlds are interconnected. Like you can take a train between each world once you link them. Very, very fun game, very big game. Rare almost made it too big. but it is very fun. I'm at, I think, Pterodactyl Land right now, and I will go back and play it some more. Okay, that's all my box games. Here we go. I'll show you my loose cartridges here that I picked up much later. And this is, N64 has risen in price a little bit, but it's still relatively cheap. These I got over, they're pretty much, I got over a few years, and all for $5-10. But I got pretty much everything I want for the system, over like 100 games. There's a lot of racers and stuff which I don't really particularly like, sports games which I don't want. These are pretty much what I want. The only one I do really want is Killer Instinct Gold. So when I find that, I'll pick it up. But here we go. I'll just start over here. If you can see this, hopefully. Castlevania and Castlevania Legacy of Darkness is basically the same game, just improved. Duke Nukem 64 my friend had. Only Duke Nukem I've ever played. F-Zero X, very fast game. Gex. Hexen, Kirby 64 and the Crystal Shards. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I did not have Ocarina of Time growing up. I did borrow it from a friend in high school and really enjoyed it. Majora's Mask I never played until the remake on the 3DS, and funny thing, I'm still currently playing through that game. Very hard Zelda game for me, because I keep having to redo things because of the time cycle. Mario Kart 64, everybody has fond memories of that game. If you've had friends in an N64, you probably played that game or rented it and played it over sleepovers. Mario Party I never played growing up. Mario Tennis, considered one of the best Mario Tennis games. Mortal Kombat 4 was an early release, not too good. Pilot Wing 64. Paper Mario. Quest 64, one of the few RPGs on the system. Rayman 2, The Great Escape. Snowboard Kids. Star Fox 64. I remember my friend had the big box with the bundle, and I played it. And mostly we played just multiplayer is what I remember playing. It was cool. I mean, it was... Star Fox 64 is another game where I have more memories playing multiplayer at a friend's house than because I didn't own the game. But the dogfighting in the game was excellent. Excellent. And the 3DS remake is very good, too. Super Smash Brothers, I've never played. I think I popped it in and tried it out because I got it at a thrift store or something for $5 a while ago, and played like one match of it at a friend's house, and never been too big into Smash Brothers. And the only one I've played after it was the one for Wii U and 3DS. Yoshi's Story, and that's pretty much my N64 collection. Nothing too not a lot, I should say, not a lot of games, but what I do have is pretty much what I want. So yeah, that is my N64 collection. Thanks for sticking with me. And in part 5, I will go over my GameCube collection here, getting into my later gaming territory when I kind of picked it back up a little bit, but kind of really felt I kind of didn't play as much because I was just getting started in my career. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll see you again. Bye.